Hello friends, we're back for another math lesson, and this time again it's on equal parts, and I'd like to start with a warm-up. But before we begin the lesson, here are the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need your toolkit, a piece of paper and a pencil, and our project at the end has a little bit of a kind of a project at the end of our lesson. And so I'll give you the materials for those at the end of our lesson, because I don't want you to do it while we're doing the lesson. I want you to be able to focus on the lesson and then do the project. So if you could go and get your toolkit, your paper, and your pencil, that's what we will begin with. And I'll wait. I'll kind of keep talking while you go and get those materials and then join us back again. And again, I'm going to give you a little bit of a project at the end, and I'll give you those materials afterwards so that we're not working on that. I hope that Mrs. Michelet's and I's lessons that we have been giving you are ones that you are enjoying. And during our one-on-one meeting times, we really appreciate hearing the things that you like about the lessons, the things that you might struggle with the lessons or need extra help with. Please give us that feedback. We really, really enjoy that, because we have been noticing that we are being challenged by you, because you have so quickly mastered how to use the technology. You have mastered the lessons that we are giving you. And so we are challenged every day to challenge you even more. And so thank you for that feedback, and continue to give us that during our one-on-one meeting times. So hopefully you were able to get those things that you needed, and if not, you're not ready quite yet, then you can just pause me and then unpause me when you find them. But in your toolkit, as part of our warm-up, I would like you to find your trapezoid and your triangle. Those are the only two shapes we need for our warm-up, the triangle and the trapezoid. Okay, just kind of a review of what Mrs. Michelet and I have been working on when it comes to shapes and equal parts. So I know in the lesson that I gave you for equal parts, we talked about how many triangles did it take you to create that trapezoid. So think about that first, and then you can write that answer on your piece of paper. And the second part of this question is, which of these two shapes has the most vertices? And I'm going to write that up here on the board, and I'm writing with my left hand, which is not my normal writing hand, so I apologize if it's not my very best printing, but I'm trying my best. Here's the word, vertices. And what does that word mean, vertices? It's a math word. Just like some people call this shape a diamond, but we know that that's the art word, and in math we call it a rhombus. So some people say this word is the same, and it is the same meaning as the word sides, right? But in math we call them vertices. So which of these shapes has more vertices? And how many more? And then show me your number model sentence that proves that. Okay, so on your piece of paper, I would like a number model sentence that proves for me which of these shapes has more vertices and how many more. Okay, and we'll revisit and get the answer to that lesson at the end of our lesson together. Okay, so I'm going to take my pattern blocks away for right now, and I'm going to show you some different shapes. Okay, this shape, is it the same or different than this shape? Oh, let me turn it over so you don't have to see any words. Same or different? They are the same shape, right? How many vertices does this shape have? You're correct, 0 vertices on a circle. Is it still a shape if it doesn't have vertices? Sure, it is still a shape, because there are shapes that have no vertices, right? And the circle has 0 vertices. And this is the same shape. So here's the next question. Here's my shape, do you see it? And I'm going to try something with this next shape. And I want you to tell me, is it the same still, or is it not the same? Same or not the same? All right. Same or not the same? Well, it's the same shape, but what did I do to it? I cut it, didn't I? And how many parts did I cut it into? Well, that's easy to see. We can just count along, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Are those parts all equal? They are all equal. And we know that because if I use my shape, well, this is probably going to be hard because I only have 2 hands, but I'm going to try my best, right? If I use my shapes, I can match it exactly to this shape and find out that these parts are equal, correct? They are equal. They perfectly cover over that other shape, which we talked about, them both being equal to start. And so that even though I have divided into 4 parts, they are 4 equal parts. And so if I were to share, let's pretend that this was a cookie and I shared it with my friends, if each of us got a part, they would be equal parts of this same whole cookie, correct? So today you're going to practice with that. And when we divide something into 4 equal parts, we say that it is divided into fourths. Fourths. And again, I know how to spell the word 4, right? The math word 4. And then I just put the TH ending at the end, fourth, right? It's divided into 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 make the whole circle, correct? 4 of these parts together would make one whole circle, one whole. So you're going to practice today in your workbook, working on showing how we can divide equal parts into fourths, and now it's time to show you the project that I'd like you to work on as well, to kind of prove to me at the end that you are really astute and really knowledgeable in fourths. So the project looks like this, and I included the directions and a template as well. So if you aren't really good at drawing circles, that's okay. You can print the template out if you want, but it looks like this. I made a pizza. Do you see it? And it is a whole pizza, but I divided it into 4 equal parts. Do you see that? And I want you to look carefully at my pizza, because here's a little bit of a trick question, a kind of a challenge for those of you that like it. Do all of my pieces of pizza have the same toppings? Okay? Now here's the next part of that question. Do all of my pieces of pizza have the same number of toppings? And the last question is, are all of my pieces of pizza equal? A little bit of a thinking question. And you can see what I like to put on my pizza. So when you make your pizza for me, I want you to put on the toppings that you like. And part of those questions that I asked you earlier, the answers were yes. And some of those questions, the answers were no. And so you can decide and make me a story about your pizza. Are all of your pizzas the same size? Do all of your pizzas have the same toppings? Do all of your pizzas have the same number of toppings? So are all of your pizzas slices equal? So if you notice at the bottom of my pizza, it says, my pizza is divided into 4 equal parts. That's also called fourths. I wanted to be able to practice printing that word fourths, because that's an important math word for us. All right, so I also, in the template that I gave you, I included that, and you can print it out yourself, or you can just hand print it at the bottom. So for this project, you need to have some construction paper or some colored paper, your scissors, a glue stick, and your imagination. Maybe a marker at the bottom, or you could still use your pencil. I just did it so you could see it better on the screen, but you could just use your pencil. And I know yesterday with Mrs. Michelet, or the day before, whenever you did the previous math lesson, you learned about halves. So if you want to make your pizza and just divide it into halves, you can. If you want to take a challenge and divide your pizza into more than fourths, what would you call that math word? Or maybe you divide it into less than 4 parts. What would you call that? So you can make this your own pizza, however you like to do it. And I'd be happy to see what you share with me at the end. So until then, finish your workbook page and begin working on your pizza. I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm going to go off into the kitchen for a snack. Maybe you want to do that. Get a snack before you start working. Until then, stay well, and I'll see you for the next lesson.